arrive at Maui Airport and you need to rent a car, you've got to take a train that's outside of baggage claim to get you to the rental car facility, and vice versa. So it's a pretty short walk. It's about a half a mile walk if you want to walk it, not wait for the train. The train ride's about a 6 or 7 minute ride because it stops from baggage claim to the terminal, from the terminal to the rental car facility. If you're flying Southwest, take the Delta crosswalk. Don't follow signs for Southwest because it will pass you. In San Antonio, we call it the flying chakla. Somebody's mom threw that at somebody's kid and they missed, or maybe it bounced off their head. If you come to Maui, look out the window, you can actually see where they're processing the luggage. Right now, there's not a lot of flights, so there's not a lot of luggage running through there. But when we came in, it was pretty cool to see all the luggage being sorted one way or the other. So, especially if you got kids, they might find that stuff pretty cool. So behind me is where they'll put the luggage at when it comes off the plane and put it into the carousels for you to pick up your luggage if baggage claim. And then down the other side is where when you check in, all the baggage gets brought out to be sorted to be put onto your plane. When you fly out of any Hawaiian airport, you have to do agricultural inspection. Make sure you're not taking any fruits, vegetables, things like that that could take species to the mainland that aren't there. Now, if you're traveling inter-island, you can bypass those lines. Excuse me, can you tell me where the bathrooms are? Not very friendly. There are nursing stations located in both sets of the terminal. So if you go off to the right, if you're in like 13 through 1, there's one there. And if you're in the 14 through 39, there's one there as well. Before you travel to Maui, make sure you watch this video completely so you can learn some tips and tricks that I learned without anybody telling me. So stay tuned. Now, these tips and tricks, they're not in any particular order. They're just, I'm giving them to you as they come into my head. So the first thing I would recommend is that you get a rental car that is an SUV or a Jeep, because the roads, especially if you're going to go to Hana, can be bumpy. We had a Dodge Challenger, and sometimes I could feel some scraping going on underneath the carriage. Also, they have periodic pull-offs that you can see scenic views, and there's big dips that go down into them, so I wasn't able to do that because of the Challenger. It presented a challenge. The next one is, since we're talking about vehicles, is driving. If your GPS says it's going to take 30 minutes to get somewhere, add 5 to 10 minutes. If it says that, like for example, if you're going to go to Hana and you're located in the Saddle of the Valley area, then it's going to tell you to take an hour and 56 minutes. It's going to take you about 2.5, depending on how you drive. Drivers around here, they either go well above the speed limit or below it. There's not too much in the middle. But the drivers are friendly. Anytime I wanted to cross the road in a crosswalk, they stopped and let me do it. There were times I was trying to cross the street in a car, they would stop and let me through. So the drivers here are very friendly. I did not hear one horn honk the whole time I was here. Now, if you're going to drive the Hana Highway, if you are claustrophobic, if you hate to drive, if you aren't a good driver, if you don't like playing chicken, if you don't like looking down without a guardrail and you just see pure cliff, if you don't like playing head on with cars as you come around the corner, it's probably not the road for you. The next tip I have is hotel location. I really recommend that you figure out everything you want to do ahead of time. Find a hotel that's centrally located. For example, Maui's made up of 2 volcanoes, essentially, the east and the west. And then in between them is what we call a saddle. Some people call it a valley, but it's really like a saddle. It's too big to be a valley. And I picked a hotel there because then I only had to drive an hour that way or an hour and a half that way for most things I needed to do. Or if I stayed on one side, I would be traveling a lot more. And if you're going to do snorkeling, whale watching, sea fishing, things like that, then being in the saddle is kind of where you want to be, because depending on where you're located, you're a 10 to 15 minute drive from those things. So most of the things we want to do, we're in that area. So we picked a hotel in that area. Plus, we're like 7 minute drive away from the airport, so we didn't have to get up early to drive to the airport or book a second hotel for the night before we fly out. My next tip is about the beaches. This is a state park. It's going to be hard to get to the beaches because you got to go through communities to get to them, or you have to park on top of a ridge and walk down that ridge to get to them. So make sure that you research what beaches you want to go to. The big beach, the little beach, they're pretty easy to get to. The black sand beach, you need to make reservations for, so make sure you do that, and you can only be there for like 2 hours. So really research what beaches you want to go to, because every beach we went to, you couldn't really go swimming and enjoy yourself because the surf is so powerful and the current was so powerful. So if you're looking more for beaches you can relax at, I would, from my experience, I'd probably stay in Oahu versus Maui. But I didn't go to every beach here, so I can't speak for what's at the resorts, but I can just speak for what's outside of the resorts. Now, as you all know, about 6 months ago from the filming of this video, Lahaina had the huge fires. And a lot of people stayed away from Maui because they were trying to be respectful. They didn't want to come in during a crazy situation. Well, what I found out is Maui's really big. And if you think of San Antonio, if you look at a map of San Antonio, they have Loop 1604, okay? Picture Loop 1604 is all of Maui. Well, what happened is inside that loop, one of the communities caught fire. So all that area in San Antonio would still be open for business. Well, what we were doing as tourists, we were staying away, and the businesses suffered greatly from it, even though they weren't in affected areas. So they're very open and welcoming to tourists, because that's the main economy driver here. All they ask is that if you go to Lahaina, don't ask them about the fire. Don't ask anybody here about the fire. It's very emotional for them, and rightfully so. So if you're going to come, you can go to Lahaina, use a local gas station, eat lunch at a local restaurant, something like that. Support the community. Just be respectful when you do it. Don't take videos, don't take pictures, don't ask questions. What you will see will speak for itself. Very tragic situation. But they're encouraging you to come to Maui and use their tourism and enjoy their island. So if you're thinking about doing it, come and do it. If you're looking to come to Maui and you haven't been to any other island, or you've been to Oahu, don't compare Oahu to here. Totally different tourism vibe. There's not that much to do here. There's stuff to do here, just not. It's not really geared towards tourists like Oahu is. Let's talk about the road to Hana. Very beautiful, very scenic, very long. It took me about 5 hours round trip to get to Hana and back from the saddle area. So the road to Hana is very beautiful, it's very scenic, it's a freaking crazy drive. After driving it there and back, it gave me a headache because it's just the most mentally exhausting drive I've ever taken. And I've driven through the Canadian Rockies, Alaska, Colorado, Afghanistan. That was the most mentally challenging road. The speed limit ranges from 10 to 35, but it's this constant hairpin turn. There's hardly any guardrails, so if you mess up, you're literally falling off a cliff. If they do have guardrails, or they have like little speed bumps that are about 6 inches high, so you'll feel a bump before you die. And that completes our time at Maui International Airport. Let me know if you have any questions. For the size of it, it's really nice. A lot to do and a lot to see. A lot of places to eat too.